What are 3 ways you can get over your fear of selling? That's what we're going to cover in today's video. Don't forget to subscribe as I release videos like this every week. Hey everybody, it's Dan Henry, and today I want to talk about the 3 keys that I've discovered in helping thousands of entrepreneurs sell their products and services, especially because here at GetClients.com, which is one of my main companies, we teach people not only how to sell their products and services, but how to sell them for a premium price. Most of my clients literally outprice their competitors and still outsell them. And when I say outprice, I mean they cost more, not less. So how do we get over that fear, especially when we're not the cheapest? By the way, are you afraid of selling? Let me know yes or no in the comments. So what is behind this fundamental fear of selling? Well, the idea of selling is often thought of as icky or bad or wrong, or everybody hates a salesman. And that's because the feeling that we have of doing something wrong leads back to the fundamental belief in what we are doing or what we are selling. If what we are selling is good and can help another person, we feel good about selling. Or at least it's a lot easier to feel good about selling. If what we are selling is bad or not that good, or we don't have confidence in the product, then we feel like we're doing a disservice. So we need to fundamentally get over the root of the cause, and we can do that in 3 ways. So what are the 3 ways to get over your fear of selling? The first way is to be willing to make a great product. So I work with entrepreneurs that sell their own products or services. I don't work with salesmen. So if you're a salesman and you sell for somebody else, the only thing I can tell you is make sure you like the product, make sure you can believe in it. Other than that, let's talk about your product. So if you sell something like an online course, a coaching program, some sort of agency service, some sort of graphic design service, you're a lawyer, whatever it is, you must be confident in your product, and the only way to do that is make it better. Make it just the best on the market. So for instance, if you are a coach or you're like an online course creator and you're like, well, I don't want to get on coaching calls. You need to get on coaching calls. You need to do Q&A. You need to understand what your students and your clients are struggling with so you can continuously make your product better. You have to be willing to commit to make that product great, because when you make that product great, you know it's great, you see your clients getting results, your clients are raving about it, you feel so good about that product that it would almost be a tragedy for you not to sell it to someone. And that is the fundamental core of what causes this fear. It's not so much we have a fear of selling, it's that we have a fear of selling the wrong thing. And if we make a great product and we commit to making a great product, that fear is going to subside. So if you're a lawyer, get better at being a lawyer. If you're a doctor, make sure that you're helping your clients and or your patients. You're not just running a doctor mill and bringing them in and out. If you are somebody that sells a mastermind event, make sure that it's a great mastermind event and it's not just something that you threw together to make money. Make the product great and the fear of selling it will go away. The second thing that will help you get over your fear of selling is understanding the cost to your customer of not buying your product. What does that mean? Imagine you're selling marriage counseling or marriage coaching, and you're saying, well, I can't charge more, or I feel afraid of selling this. Well, think about this. What's it going to cost your customer if they don't buy your product? So let's say they don't buy your product, they don't get help fixing their marriage, and then they get divorced. Well, what's it going to cost them? Only half of everything they've ever worked for. You know, that car, cut it in half. That house, cut it in half. That bank account, cut it in half. The kid, don't cut your kid in half. I got excited. So let's say you sell some sort of business consulting and you work with physical therapists, and you know that you can help physical therapists get more clients. Think about what money they would miss out on by not getting your coaching so they don't grow their business. Or think about health. Like, let's say you're a health coach. Think about all the years of pain and suffering that your client would have to go through because they didn't lose the weight. Think about that. And then if you say, well, they could buy something else, well, that goes back to the first way. Make your product great. I've often talked with clients of mine who've said, well, I just don't know if I can charge that much. And I say, well, let me ask you a question. Is your product better than everybody else is on the market? Yes, I believe it is. Do you think you can do a better job than everybody else? Yes, I think I can. Do you think that your client would get a better experience if they went with you instead of anybody else? Yes, I do. Well, then how come those people are charging more and you're charging less? How come you're disrespecting yourself that much where you're letting other people go out there, charge more, do a worse job? You should raise your prices and you should learn how to sell your product or service so that you can make sure those clients get the experience and the help from you instead of anybody else because you're better. So the key there is to understand that if somebody doesn't buy your product or service, it's going to cost them more than if they did buy it. And again, in order to do that, we go back to one, make a great product. And so once you have these first two, it's going to start to really dissipate that fear of selling because you're going to realize that the right thing to do is to sell, not to not sell. And the third thing is to learn the difference between selling and closing. For instance, one of the biggest principles we teach at GetClients.com is never sell on the phone, only close on the phone. So we put out what we call core content, one piece of core content, and then there's some follow-up content that does the selling for you. So when somebody gets on the phone with you, you don't have to pitch. You don't have to go through how it all works. They already know how it works. They already know what your strategy is. They already know how you can help them. They already know all this stuff because you created a piece of content that they can watch before they ever get on the phone with you. And you don't even let them get on the phone with you unless they watch that content. And it fully explains everything. It sets the expectations. It makes them understand how you would work with them, what it looks like, your principles, all of that. So that by the time they get on the phone, you are no longer selling them, you are closing them. What is closing? Closing is the art of getting somebody comfortable with the idea of separating themselves from their money to buy something they already want. And so if you set that system up correctly, you will have a situation where when people get on the phone with you, they already want to buy your product or service, they already believe in it, you're just closing them so that they're comfortable with actually paying you for it and getting over that ledge. And so it honestly becomes a mindset call more than a sales call. And when you understand these three principles, the fear of selling goes away. And then you don't start to look for alternatives. Well, I don't want to sell on the phone. What's another way to do it? No, forget that. Let's figure out this way to do it by eliminating the fear behind it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need more information about selling, raising your prices, or any of the stuff I talked about in this video, like creating that piece of core content so that you don't have to sell on the phone, you just have to close, you can go to GetClients.com. I've got a lot of amazing resources on there. I've got my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets. We have a free training that shows you how we build highly profitable online businesses from scratch, or we help people fix their online business. It's a great training. We have a ton of blog posts, podcast episodes, so check that out at GetClients.com. And subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you can keep getting these amazing videos with this new fancy background that I have. See you in the next video.